This is your weekend market review for Friday, March 29th, 2024. Let's go. Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well. This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is your weekend market review for Good Friday, March 29th, 2024. Hopefully you're having a great week. Enjoy the long weekend. Be with your family, do some cool things. Want to put this market recap out early so that you have it to check on it if you want this weekend, Friday, or even Sunday night. So at this point going forward next week, we know that it's going to be an interesting week. We have jobs data. We've seen how layoffs have continued to explode, but will they manipulate the numbers with temporary jobs? We'll see. Again, how will the market react? That's really the key, right? Who knows? We do know the economy's slowing. We know AI by itself, by nature, is going to be creating job cuts, essentially, right? Like, why would companies not cut costs when they can have artificial intelligence take on maybe 20, 10, 15, 5% of the workforce's jobs at a fraction of the cost, right? That continues to happen. And so at this point going forward, how will the market react? Again, earnings have been okay in some names, some things not. But overall, as we've talked about, the economy is not strong, but it's being projected. So how long will inflation last? Because it's getting stickier and stickier. And the problem is with the feds, they know this. Once it entrenches, they're screwed. And I've said this, and I'll go on record now. I could be wrong. They need a credit event. They need something to get inflation down. And maybe it doesn't have to necessarily be in the United States. All right, here we go. Live Zoom chat. If you want to talk, hit me up. Use the Calendly link. Take 30 minutes. Let's hang out. Let's chat. Go to my website, tradingagent.com. Recommend a reading list. Get your interactive brokers link for your referral, and Goldman 5.5%. Let me know how that goes. If you have any questions about any of that stuff, don't hesitate to reach out. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Again, I appreciate all the love, support, generous donations. You guys are amazing. Leave a comment. Check out these old videos. I'm telling you, if you're trying to learn, there it is. Also follow on Twitter. And again, I apologize that my posts on X do not transfer over to Discord. I try to shout out both, but it's just hard to do both. So again, follow on Twitter if you're involved. All right. So next week we know jobs. But this is the thing that's interesting, right? Like, why is the Fed pricing in, like the Fed Fund Futures pricing in a rate cut in June? Something's coming between now and then, because I don't see how they can cut rates with inflation as high as there. So it's between now and June, something is coming. Seems very obvious. Well, what will happen? What will the reaction be? It's hard to say. Bitcoin, again, I hate to refresh it because it's going to bring me right back to oil. It does it every time and I forget. We know Bitcoin has been holding up pretty darn well, right? Where's the Bitcoin to dollar? There you go. Check this out, right? We've talked about the 71,000. For now, it's resistance. I mean, again, this is intraday stuff. It doesn't necessarily mean that it has to dump by any means, but I would just be watching this. Like, for confirmed strength, you need to clear and close over this, right? And you probably need to get over 73,000 if you really want to see higher prices. The good old oil, Texas tea, holding up. Again, this has got to be killing the feds. Natural gas, which, we call this the widowmaker. It's when it's always tough, right? Watch these levels. Watch these levels. Again, if the market drops, it's possible I could get down to 140, in my opinion. Maybe 120, $1.20, but not much downside long term. If you look at it from the long term perspective, again, whatever you do, define your risk, have stops, be careful. So here again, credit risk, something's going on. Why is the dollar continuing to rise? Right? Keeping an eye on that. Bonds, they've been hit or miss, but they have been strong. Meaning, like, we got out of the Fed day range, we broke out the downtrend potentially. Just keep an eye on it, because that could be an easy trade. The VIX, again, to me, the downside is maybe filling this gap here at 1220, maybe not near term. Again, consolidating, keep an eye on it. I mean, it makes it very cheap to hedge. The Vixen chopping around. Vivix seems to be holding 76. Keep an eye on it, right? SPY, interesting day. I mean, we talked about the end of the quarter, end of the month. Are you surprised that we retest? No, we said you got to break the 8-10 day. Didn't. Said these candles look distributive. Interesting action again. Tight candles, high volume. If you read Anna Cooling's why can't I remember all of a sudden the name? Volume price analysis. Small candles, high volume, anomalies. Got to watch them, right? Tight action. QQQ's been lagging. We've talked about double top potentially. IWM got a nice pop on what day is it? On Wednesday, Thursday, doji. Interesting. New highs, but did not really close above the old highs. And again, if you zoom out, we know this has been lagging significantly compared to the broader markets. Interesting back tense to trend line, little fibby. T has been holding up pretty dang well. Pretty good. Pretty good, right? Here you go, little double topper maybe, or maybe it's ready to go higher. Again, we talked about having to hold this like 393 area. So far, so good. Gold, not surprised they chased it the last day of the quarter. Congrats. Again, people are like, oh, you're bearish. I'm like, no, I'm not bearish. I own physical. It's just I don't want to play the paper game. And I've said this many times. Why? I don't trust it because it's liquidity mechanism that could get flushed, right? So just be careful, right? It can get flushed. Like that's what this stuff does. And not necessarily gold maybe so much as, or it's just the silver in the miners. That's what I'd be watching because it's really tough to trust a gold breakout when silver is just dogging, right? It's just dogging, rough. GDX got a nice little pop on, it's like Thursday, not Friday. Cool. And this is what I said in the previous videos. I'm like, how have we not gotten up into 31, 32? There it is. GDXJ. I mean, I'm surprised this thing isn't at 40, honestly. Close, I guess. We'll be getting there. AG, AEM, all these names, like check them out. Like they're interesting. Right? Like at this point, what? Right? Like what else? Maybe a little higher. I don't know. I'm just kind of sitting here thinking about it. Like these things are just in huge chop zones. I mean, again, we talked about if you would have bought some of these at the bottom, they were tradable. Did I trade them? No. Do I look like an idiot when I don't do something that works out? I guess so. We all kind of do. How many times have you passed on something going, I'll just be patient? Patience never hurts. Again, not losing money. Newmont, not making money either, though. So that's the question. Like we talked about Newmont holding the channel lows due to bounce. And again, I'm still surprised this thing is up in the 40s. PAAS, same kind of thing, right? There you go. Chop. All right, let's get into, again, but just be careful with them. Because again, we talked about the market will drag miners down. Taiwan Semi, again, some folks have been trying to hit me up and say this thing is bullish. I'm like, man, it's lagging, friends. It is not leading now below the 20-day. I mean, this could waterfall at any moment, or it needs to hold the 30, like 133. Here, I'll draw it out. Some people are asking me about it. I'm like, I don't like the way it's acting. Again, I still think this is the most epic short ever because if China goes after Taiwan, no, Taiwan Semi will not be a success. Well, you do not want to own the stock. There's a reason why Buffett was dumping. Yeah, Micron's been holding up pretty damn well. AM Dizzle sticking around this 180 area, lagging, but it's holding this support. NVIDIA, the 20-day, very important, holding it for now. Keeping an eye on it. SMCI, which has been kind of a little bit of a cluster mess, right? Like up, down, up, down, up, down. Here you go. Get over this. Needs to hold 1,000. And so far it is. So your guess is as good as mine. Near term, could be stuck in a choppy mess. Intellectual property, catching a little bid into the end of the quarter. Interesting. Watching the 100-day, watching the back tested channel. SMH, again, this has been just kind of stuck watching the 20-day because if it breaks, it breaks. Adobe's talked about this gapping down, chopping around. Apple holding to the 170 level. Did not confirm and follow through today, which was interesting. Amazon holding up pretty damn well. We've talked about it riding the lightning. Meta, double top potential, watching it now below the 20-day. If you want the next levels, this is what I'd be watching. Just we're right there now. I mean, again, how wide and loose do you want this range to be? That becomes a question for you, where you want to define your risk if you're long or short. But break that, goodbye. CRM, I'm talking about not goodbye. Chopping below the 20-day. Guggenheim, every time it hits this like 153 area gap fill, I mean, it's holding up. Meta, Microsoft, like break out, then it comes back in. That one's tough. Be careful on that. NDAQ, man, holding up, surprisingly. Getting into this upper zone. That's why you define risk. Again, you don't have to jump into shorts all the time. If they're not working, just back off. I mean, I always say 3 strikes, you're out, like baseball. MicroStrategy, can't love this. Can't love this to end of the quarter. Don't be surprised if you come at least back to the 20-day, maybe fill some gaps down here. Netflix and chill. Like it looked like it was going to start to spill. Okay, let's see what happens here. Below the 20-day. Roblox, this has been just a painful trade to watch. Again, chopping around, holding the 200-day. Pan W, again, I like this one on the pullbacks. This is a Pelosi trade. Keep an eye on it. Tesla, again, I think plus Tesla's just dead money. I mean, we talked about this being a good gap. Like, you want to see that. Then it came back. Not surprising, again, because nothing just launches. But this gap here, the 20-day, your guess is good as mine near term on this. Again, I personally don't have any desire into play the Tesla, but good luck. Airbnb holding up pretty darn well. Got to give it credit where credit is due, right? But you zoom out, again, it's been back. I would say back testing, backfilling, right? You've got some zones up here. Yeah, good. Be careful. Costco, we talked about this gapping down, bouncing back to the 20-day. And again, this is the thing about trading. Like, this has been a stock picker's market. Like, what's working is what not. Some things are working, some things aren't working. Like, if you would have chased Costco into earnings, now you're sitting here going, what am I doing, right? If you bought Starbucks and you were going long, thinking it was great, it broke the channel. It's just been going nowhere. But again, it's been frustrating bulls and bears. FedEx, we talked about this one gapping up on earnings. This 293 gap has to fill, in my opinion, at some point. But chop. Caterpillar, this one's been strong. This one's been leading. Nucor, breaking out, looking like it, holding up pretty well. X, as we talked about. Again, Nippon Steel trade ain't happening. But at this point, I mean, again, I wouldn't short, or again, I don't really want, again, it's like minors, like a goal. Like, I don't want to short that stuff. I just want to let it play out. Let it come in. VALE, chopping. Arrow, right? This one's been dead money, in my opinion, sadly. And not dead money. I'm sorry. What did I meant? I meant dead, stuck at 19s. Like, get over it, then you got higher. Not dead money. We talked about this one, holding, chopping. I like this one long term. Again, it's just like CCJ. Like, I mean, I like these names. They've just been choppy, and you got to get over certain levels to confirm higher action. And when they do, then you can be bullish. A lot of people will just, every day is not the day. So watch the 100-day and the 200-day. CF, again, we like ag names. They've been chopping. They got slaughtered into the end of the quarter. Like, not surprised. I mean, the quarter in general, just no good. NTR, people just gone nowhere for months. AA, holding up. We talked about this one once it cleared. Right around here. Wouldn't be surprised if it got into 34, 35, maybe even higher. XLF, this one's frustrating the fudge out of me. Again, banks hold all the risk to everything, all these assets. Got to give it credit where credit's due. I mean, this looked like this was a railroad bar. Again, we talked about not liking the volume on this. And at this point, yeah, define your risk. That's all I can tell folks. JP Mo, look at that, hitting the 200 level, double trouble, chopping. Morgan Stanley, retest and range highs. Bank of America has been kind of holding up nicely. Goldman Sachs, right? Making new highs. Looked like it was going to come back. Okay. Credit where credit's due. Holding up. KRE, this is where, again, junior banks, it's like not showing strength. But here we go in the 50s. It's been like super choppy. XBI, here we go. Here's the name. Again, when you think the market's strong, like junior bio should just go nuts, right? Here we go. Here's the breakout. Then it gives it back up. Now we're back stuck in support and resistance zones. TAN, solar, we talked about looking for pops to short. Maybe these are little baby pops. Are they worth it? I don't know. Sedge, ENPH. In my opinion, again, wow, I hit the 200-day right on the freaking dot. Again, I have a problem with solar. Not that I don't believe in the technology. I just don't think it's going to do well if there's credit issues. And if there's not credit issues, well, again, you need higher oil prices. And that's where it's like, we'll see what happens here. Because I don't think government spending's kicking up. It's interesting. We talked about this on the live or daily recap and live chat, like watching this. 170s, got it. First test, maybe not. If you know for solar, it's sloppy and choppy. Corporate debt, again, you got to be high out of your mind to be buying that stuff. Oil, again, it's got to be killing the feds, y'all. Got to be killing the feds, holding up pretty well. UNGs, we talked about. Like, I don't like the UNG as a product. It just decays. I like KOLD. The short up here, and we've talked about, don't be surprised. All right, well, if it got over it, could it get back into some higher prices? Absolutely. But again, zoom out. When you zoom out, if you look at this for the long term, it's like shorting the UVXY. Like, you should win. Like, this thing just decays. It's a decaying donkey. So be patient on it. Have your stops. Define your risk for the love of God. XOP, we talked about holding up pretty well. Chopping, it's going to probably get a little tired up here, but look, man, that's impressive. Last day of the quarter, chasing it. Will it get follow through? Like, you got to watch this 155 area. ExxonMobil, 115s, look at it. Here you go. This gap, is it a novice gap or is it a gap to continue? That's the question you got to ask yourself. If you have profits, make sure you tighten them up, right? We talked about Valero potentially topping, MPC topping, but they got bought on the last day of the market. CVE, man, 20 is just a beast right now. It's been there for a couple days. Watch that. It's obviously resistance. Ten cuidado, right? Occidental, we've talked about, like, why is this thing not in the 66, 67 range? Stuck in this big chop zone. EQT, again, I like this one down here at the lows. I'd love for it to kind of pull back when natural gas. Again, all this stuff to me, I don't trust it's going to break out unless something major is coming. If it does, there's always another trade. It is what it is. Flex LNG, again, I like being natural gas exporters long term. So if you have any questions, please reach out. Always here to help. If you're looking to buy, sell, invest in real estate, let me know how I can help you. If you got any thoughts on the trades or the markets, leave a comment below. You can troll me. I don't care. Not always going to be right. No one is. That's the name of the game. So if you have any questions, please reach out. Have a great, happy weekend. Talk to you soon.